Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the DS Show. I'm joined by a very special guest today. He is a community boss, certified Master Anaplanner, and more importantly, a very key member of Team DSI. Please welcome my good friend, Kirill Kuznetsov. Welcome to the show, Kirill.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, first of all. It was a little bit of surprise that you invited me, but I really appreciate it. So yeah, my name is Kirill. I here not long ago started working in DSI. My previous experience was also related to Anaplan. I used to work in a client on the client side for Anaplan Center of Excellence, also consultant in several consulting companies.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. And one of the things I remember is I think you and I had been connected on LinkedIn for quite some time before we formally started working together. And I think I've seen your work from afar, but now seeing up close and personal, like working together, it's really been great working together. And I know the work you do for the community as well as social media, all of the content you provide. It's really top caliber content. So really appreciate all you do for the community, and glad that we share that in common.
Yeah, I remember your most famous post in LinkedIn, I think, with the sign in New York. So that was like the moment I remember you posting something there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
probably it's one of the inspirations I had,
Oh,
like
thank you.
posting there.
Yeah, LinkedIn, I think, is a good home for both of us, and it's been very generous and kind to the both of us. So, I think giving back to the community is something we both share in common. So, really great that that's a value we have. All right, now switching a little bit of gears, you mentioned about your experience on the customer side of Anaplan. Can you talk a little bit what that was like, and maybe before we go too far into the Anaplan side, like talk about how did you even get started with Anaplan? How did it evolve, your journey?
I started back in 2016, I think. So first job of mine was business analyst for a separate system, not Anaplan. It's a Russian product called One S or 1C. It's quite common. It's something similar to what people use on the West as a SAP. I'm not a programmer or something, so it was more as a business analyst, like designing dashboard, talking with the client, gathering requirements, all good stuff we know. So this is where I learned like the basic skills for about a year, and then I got for an interview to my no, I knew a little bit, but not very good. We were studying in the same university. He eventually was going to be my boss on that position. So this is how I joined the team in Diageo. It's one of the big clients of Anaplan, and I got lucky with the team because it apparently what happened is that it was one of the best teams, best performing teams with best examples of and use cases. And I started best examples of implementations of Anaplan because I was part of a BAU team. So we were supporting the models already live. And this is quite important, quite stressful, I'd say. The things which work, you shouldn't break, and fix things as fast as possible. Also do some service requests, or like maybe even change requests to the current way of works as like even processes evolve. And meanwhile, studying a little bit Anaplan, like for quite a while, I was like second level Anaplanner, and not going any forward because it was enough for me. But there were so many things to learn on the way with Anaplan, with the tool, even on that level. So I didn't rush to anything further than that. And obviously, I wanted to grow. So this is how I started learning level 3. Solution architect program, and eventually master Anaplanner, because I saw you guys, I saw the best examples of like how it could be, and I saw opportunity to grow, and the company actually it was welcoming it. That's how I started progressing in this. So basically, this was about, and then like it like how it goes. Like we evolve, get more projects, and now I'm in consulting, so to see the different industries even.
Now, when you were first learning Anaplan compared to when you eventually became an architect, Master Anaplanner, how long did it take you to feel like, not certification wise, but just personally for you, how long did it feel like, okay, now I understand Anaplan?
Good question. I'd say like the most common thing about understanding Anaplan is look up in some functions. So once you get it, the most of the things are like quite achievable, and you understand the flexibility of the full power of Anaplan. And it happened to me maybe in half a year, something like this. Because like, okay, it does mean that I didn't do the functions before. It wasn't as intuitive as it is now. So now I don't even need to think about like, do I need to use lookup or some function or some like similar ones, like any for Boolean, yeah, first non blank, last non blank. Like, so
Yeah, it feels kind of second nature once you've reached a certain point, right? Like you don't have to think anymore. You just can kind of quickly do whatever's asked, right? In terms of learning, what was something that helped you while you were learning? Like, did you have a mentor? Was it some real life situation that helped you crack Anaplan? Like, was there something about your journey that you feel that others could maybe learn from?
Yeah, in my experience, I didn't have a mentor who like I could go from time to time. It was our team, so I could basically go almost everyone if like they not very busy at some point of time, or maybe on lunch break to discuss some topic or things you struggle to complete. So yeah, I'd say the most important for me was don't be afraid to ask questions, of elders, anyone, like even from the business. Don't be afraid to look stupid, but at the same time, obviously, if you do some preparation. So, this is probably the main, and of course, like you can ask questions in community, in the forum, yeah, and there always will be people who are welcome to help you, and so am I sometimes when I have time. So this is actually one of the things which I like really like to do in the spare time. It like I saw like my heart is growing this way because like I'm sharing my knowledge, and I want to help people, and I see that people appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's a good way to learn as well, I think. Actually, for me, the way I learned more quickly was community had unlimited Anaplan situations that people were facing. Situations I had not faced myself, but what would be fun is you see somebody else's problem and you try it on your own model or something, right? And see if you can help. So I think in a way, like giving back, it's great. You help somebody else, but in a way it also reinforces your own learning as well.
Yeah, I also remembered that we had very good practice having monthly challenges. So we have a host who prepares a couple of examples from his or her experience in Anaplan and model building, some particular feature or something, like maybe for people who are familiar with ratio, some summary method, you can do some tricks with that. So we try to apply it. It's not very common to use some of them, but it's very good to know. It's worth of knowing them, that you can do something, because not as much described anywhere, like in the learning center or anywhere, or in Anapedia. Maybe you can go through Anapedia, find something by yourself, yeah, but don't get what implementation you can like apply it. Yeah, these challenges were very, very nice.
Yeah, I think just going out, trying something new, don't be afraid to ask questions, and the community forums are also a great place, to look around and see if there's a problem you can solve, or if you have a question you can ask. on there. I want to kind of pivot a little bit. So we talked about a little bit about your client side journey. Can you talk a bit about consulting look like for you? What was kind of the biggest change you noticed going from client side to consulting?
Yeah, probably the most noticeable. There are so many different industries and applications of using Anaplan. So this was my main goal, my main purpose of going to consulting, to touch a little bit of everything and like to understand how different it is from project to project, from industry to industry. And I appreciate this experience I got. I'm still learning this way. And at the same time, I understand that even when there are some limitations of Anaplan, obviously, like in any system, but there are so many things you can do with it. Maybe sometimes it's a hard code or something, yeah. But when there are the cases where we don't need it, sometimes we have to. The specific of the client, specific of the industry. Not everything is ideal, and this is also a tool. You just have to know how to use it properly.
Yeah, I think one of the things I've noticed is especially in your content, is you share a lot of best practices and tips and tricks and latest features that come out. But sometimes in the real world, especially in consulting, you have to kind of deviate from the best practice because the client wants something.
Oh yeah, that happened to me too, of course. Yes, you obviously need to deviate from best practices from time to time, but I really appreciate of like the work done towards building these best practices and following them. I'd say I'm more strict than others about best practices because this is some kind of the Bible for us, and to keep the model transparent and flexible enough and things like this. Even sometimes I even understand why Anaplan asks us like to build one additional line item for no reason, but it actually may help you in the future. You probably don't see a reason why you need it separate and not included in the current one. You would get at some point you would get the idea why you need to like make it as simple as possible. But away from best practices, it's essential when you need the job to be done possible. So you first may try just do it somehow, at least do it, just complete your task, and then return later to it to maybe optimize it. Yeah, but be aware that you may have some bug there.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I notice you do well too is you take really good notes and trackers, and you always have an eye, a tracker, a list of things that you want to focus on.
Yeah, honestly, it wasn't always like this. Most of the time, it was in my head, and my mind castle was the Anaplan itself. When I look at some module, for that particular module, it reminds me all of these things I want to fix with that. So just by looking at it, but yes. Now I try to structure it a little bit more, to put some notes, use some special tools for taking these notes somewhere, and maybe return to the client with a structured thing of the optimization which can be done, which I think is important to do once in a while, maybe once a year, like this spring cleaning.
I think that's great. Now we talked a little bit about consulting. Could you share, in your opinion, what makes somebody a good consultant?
A good consultant is a person who listens more than talks. Yeah, who absorbs as much as possible, but as if and efficient at the same time. Of course, like you can spend talking with your client about their pains, but not resolving anything for them. But the second probably is like prioritization, to help them prioritize the things, even in some cases be very strict of like what you want to do first, because in my experience consulting, I had a situation when I was invited on a project which was in very bad condition. The model was in very bad condition without any documentation, very big, is almost filling all of the workspace, the classic one, like which is 120 gigs. So it was like 100 something, and it was very sparse. And they invited me to start building them a new report, brand new functionality upon the current model. And I understood that if I start building on what I see, I will never complete it, neither do a good job, and they would appreciate my job. So instead, I said, guys, I really want to do this for you, but let's focus a little bit on cleanup and optimization of the model, at least for me to understand what's going on in it, because without even a documentation, it's very, very hard to understand how the model works. The client actually agreed with me. It was quite a psychological thing. We had a couple of sessions of psychotherapy with users about that, because I heard, I listened and absorbed a lot of their pains first, and said, I understand you. I really want to help you. Then let's focus on optimization a little bit, at least gather everything we can. And this actually even allowed me to get my colleague on this project as well. So company agreed with my recommendations and decided to hire an additional FTE on the project in order him to complete my proposal to them, while me could start working on the report they wanted me in the first run. But from the starting point, when I was invited to a company, it took maybe 2 months for me before I started working on the report they wanted me to do, because I said, guys, no, I'm not gonna start this in this mess. Yeah, and it helped. I saw the improvement even on the client side. They created their own center of excellence eventually, and I already feel that my work actually helped them a lot to understand their own model.
Yeah, that's a great story. And one of the things that jumped out is you mentioned you were kind of giving them therapy, right? And I think sometimes, as a consultant, you end up, that is kind of one of the big roles you end up playing, is you have to kind of be the therapist, right? You have to let them share their problems because you're the person they trust, right? Eventually they build a trust with you. And especially I think early on, if you can give them a quick evidence that, look, you can help them and you can prove that, hey, look, even with some little change, a quick win, something to show them, hey, look, we can do this together.
Yeah.
It builds the trust.
I agree. Yeah, that's very important. And actually, we don't appreciate enough how much they can do by their own. The Center of Excellence actually helps you out a lot. You can give some smaller, easy tasks as an architect, or as a consultant. You can give out some easier tasks to your client, finish by their own. Obviously, it depends on how time consuming the task is. Yeah. But generally, something, it actually, it's additional training for them. Yeah. And training is always good for everyone. It's not only therapy, it's like mentorship, as you said.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to consulting, how to say, a project, what are some of the things you think lead to success of a project from a consulting side?
The most important, probably, to set up goals and make regular checkups, how close you are, and on the way maybe adjust these goals a little bit. You always have a pipeline for the future, so it's never ending project, but in a good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah, and in terms of projects you've worked on in the past, the ones that have been successful, what are some of the things you've noticed about those that you feel like every project you wish would follow those things?
I think quite efficient to have as a person, such as a rather business analyst position, or somebody not involved in the development itself. And it's a little bit different role than a solution architect. Yeah, because it's more business related person, sometimes with quite deep knowledge and experience in the industry or in the field in which this project is. So this additional person may really help to think out properly the dashboards for people, maybe the pathway, how they going to navigate between dashboards, between the application they use. And sometimes architect always should be present there or on the calls or something, but he is a little bit more leaning towards technical side, in my opinion. Many cases I struggle to not having this person, and it literally just made the project and made the tasks for no necessity actually.
Yeah, I think that's really great insight. Like sometimes having a functional or business driven person who kind of focuses more on the end user, the business process, and kind of translating that to the technical team. It could really help kind of bridge the gap sometimes between technical and business users.
No, I understand that it depends from project to project, and also how efficient you are yourself as an architect, because you may have a team of model builders who can help you with hands doing it, doing the technical stuff, actually building things, and you as an architect more involved in in the dashboards, drawing, giving these tasks, obviously, but it depends how big the team is. So I saw examples, quite successful examples, without having such a team member and architect doing its job. I'd say as a project manager, you should be aware of whether at this particular project do you need a person who is more specific on the business side. User stories are so good written, so there is no such necessity, but it's a rare occasion in my experience.
Yeah. Now I kind of want to pivot now. We talked a little bit about Anaplan Community, social media. How did you get started doing that, and when did you kind of get started? How did you get started? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'd say it started literally when I started learning myself, and I understood that in the courses there were some gaps of description, and I was seeking for understanding of how something works or how to complete something. Of some of the tasks, because it happened like 7 years ago, and the learning center was very different from what we have now, and the courses were not the same, and the UI was different in Anaplan and such. So I'd say I had to search for something for myself, and I don't remember me personally write something in forum to ask. Maybe it happened, maybe not. I should check on that. But generally, this is how I started looking into the questions. And at the same time, I noticed that there are some questions I already could answer, I already could help with. This is literally how I started writing things and replying to the forum questions. And another big thing for me was actually challenging Anaplan as a system, as a platform, because I saw some opportunities of growth, and I wrote them down from time to time, or maybe when I'm not patient enough, I could go to Idea Exchange and put a new ticket there. So for those who don't know, Idea Exchange is quite a big thing. It used to. I don't know how it's now, because I honestly, for the last couple of years, I stopped writing anything there. But I used to write so many ideas in Idea Exchange of how to make Anaplan better as a platform for both users, end users, for us, the model builder users, because we're also users of the system, and we have the same rights of requesting something from the development team to make our life easier if we see that it could be possible to improve. I'd say another recommendation from me to anyone: if you see the opportunity of how Anaplan could be better, write it in Idea Exchange. and maybe share it in LinkedIn or any other social media platforms where you think it's good, it's gonna rock it. So yeah, that's quite important in my opinion. And I myself, I even ask my clients to go into my idea exchange, into my idea and like it, put a kudo. This is how I literally went up in the top list of Anaplan community, because like this, apparently it counts, every like also count takes into account. That helped me to also feel confident of that I'm valued as a community member, and I was noticed by some of the like more experienced guys, and some of them even wrote me in private messages that I'm doing a great job. I'm really helping people. Keep doing it. You're on a good path, and it encourages. So I'd say that guys who are more experienced believe that everyone who is still on their learning path, or like doing something, encourage them, inspire. Yeah, with your example, this we value this. I value this at least, because I'm still learning too.
Yeah, I think we all are at the end of the day still learning, no matter how whatever the certification says or the title or anything.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you learn every day. Right? Always something new to learn, some new problem to solve, some new model to build. Right. So yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing your journey with us. Last question I'll leave you here with is if there's any advice you wish to leave the audience with. Anyone who might be entering the space today for the first time, is there anything you would wish to share with them?
Yeah, I'd say so. Be patient on your learning, and even building something. Be patient that you don't know something or don't understand how to build, how to make, how to design. At the same time, don't be afraid to look dumb. Ask questions. Ask on community, your colleagues. Ask your client for some particular reasons related to business, of course. And it's not a shame to look into Anapedia. Yeah, highly appreciate to have a look at the planio to understand like the basics of even like once you finish level 2 or even level 1, take a look at the planio. Planio is very small document, but it includes everything the most important to make your model at least transparent, good looking, because it's very important how your model looks. So guys, you're not just tech guys. Some of you even are came from the business side. How your back end looks important as your front end. If you make your model look good, I'm not talking only about model map, but in general, even like the lists are structured, the modules are structured, all the namings are fine. You grouped everything as much as possible. This will help you, and others who will look at your model will very much appreciate your work, and they will see how good specialist you are. So yeah, and always challenge others, like others designs, and see how you could improve it to anyone, and not only the technical design but also like a business process itself. Sometimes business overlooks things between their processes, daily tasks, yeah, monthly tasks, whatever. Sometimes they overlook opportunities of how to make their life easier, and this is actually our job to help them, and this is part of the consulting.
All right. Well, thanks so much for sharing all that insight. And I certainly believe the audience will get a ton of value from this conversation. And thanks so much for your time, Kirill, and look forward to doing some great work together.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
All right.
for having me once again. It was a pleasure. Nice talk, good questions, and thank you. Have a good
Yeah.
day.
Yes, thanks for coming on the show. All right, well, that wraps it up for this episode of the DS Show. We'll see you guys in the next episode.